We in this country, in this generation, are by destiny rather than choice, the watchmen on the walls of world freedom. We ask, therefore, that we may be worthy of our power and responsibility, that we may exercise our strength with wisdom and restraint, and that we may achieve in our time and for all time the ancient vision of peace on earth, goodwill towards men. That must always be our goal, and the righteousness of our cause must always underlie our strength. For as was written long ago, except the Lord keep the city, the watchman awaketh but in vain.
Well, good morning, everybody. My name is Kathy Chamberlain. I'm the founder of Pinellas Watchdogs, a grassroots organization formed to ensure transparency in our local politics and to hold our elections officials accountable to the will of the people. I'm also the multi-campaign coordinator for a slate of incredibly qualified America First supervisors of elections candidates from 13 different counties in Florida, comprising 20% of our state. These folks are challenging inadequate, non-transparent, and in many cases corrupt incumbent SOEs in their counties. Those include the SOEs right here in Hillsborough, that's Tampa, Florida, Craig Latimer, and in Pinellas County, Julie Marcus. Our Watchdogs group consists of many former Defend Florida volunteers who spent the last couple of years canvassing our voter rolls, determining signature verifications and other related election processes. When we tried on multiple occasions to bring our findings to our SOE in Pinellas, thinking they'd be happy to see our abnormalities so they could fix the problems, we were met with absolute deniability, deflection, ridicule, and disdain, not just by our SOEs, but by our own county Republican leaders. That's why we formed Pinellas Watchdogs, because we were fed up by our elected officials turning a blind eye to what we knew to be problems in our elections. No one wants a repeat of the last 4 years stemming from the uncertainties the 2020 election created. One only needs to look at the elections that just took place in Venezuela to see the chaos that can result when 100% transparency is not part of the process. We also have a sister organization, St. Lucie Watchdogs, hosting a follow-up press conference tomorrow, Wednesday, July 31st, at 11 a.m. at the federal courthouse in Fort Pierce, to expose non-citizens who are registering to vote in our state. This is going to play a big part in our upcoming election in November if we don't do something about it now. A number of the slate of 13 America First SOE candidates will be there, sharing actions that must be taken to resolve the problems before November and what legal actions they plan to take to preempt that disaster in the making. You can find out more on our PinellasWatchdogs.org website. But today, our group is hosting this press conference here in front of the FBI field office in Tampa to provide the slate of SOE candidates with the platforms needed to address the very real problems of blank ballots, uncertifiable machines, public records, and official elections records being hidden that SOEs and elections officials in Florida have refused to address. The entire slate, you can see many of them behind me, is represented by Pinellas County's SOE candidate, Mr. Chris Guese, who is joined by statements of others on the slate who have been equally frustrated by the non-transparency of the SOEs in their counties. They're here to take action on getting their voices heard and their evidence seen. With that, I'd like to introduce Mr. Chris Guese, candidate for the Supervisor of Elections in Pinellas County, but more importantly, he's a relentless seeker of truth in elections. Chris is a nationally recognized data investigator in election integrity, and Pinellas County is grateful to have him challenging the status quo. Chris?
Hello, and thank you for coming out, and thank you for being here today. We are in very perilous times. We are in very challenging times. However, what we know is true is true. And what we know is true is based on evidence. Volumes and volumes of evidence, irrefutable evidence that we and our voices have been interfered with, and that widespread election fraud and interference has subverted our constitutional government here in Florida and federally. Today, we're going to present some of this evidence, or bring some of this evidence to the attention of the Tampa field office for the FBI. We have tried to expose this at the state level. We have tried to expose this at the federal level in multiple other states. And we have to, again, do that here where we live. So what we have here is overwhelming evidence of election crimes and violations, to include official misconduct and breach of trust by Julie Marcus and her co-conspirators. We have this related to blank ballots and the machines. And we have a report here called The Big Cheat, and it talks into great detail about how voters' rights to cast ballots are being interfered with by uncertifiable machines and by machines that don't have a valid certification or were not ever certified for use in the state of Florida or federally. The information that we have here has all been obtained via government data, government public records requests, and through diligent hard work by grassroots volunteers here in Florida and nationwide. One of the most egregious things that we have found is the criminal money laundering enterprise being used to finance all of this election fraud mafia style operations. You might have heard some stuff about James O'Keefe and the smurfing. Well, this is all related to that. It's related to the Purple Party using the stolen identities of elderly victims nationwide, making straw donations in the names of voters and elderly citizens all across America in such volume and at such scale that it materially impacts the outcome of every election at the federal, state, and local levels. This needs to end now. All of this money that we are seeing being run into our elections is illicit, it is illegal, and all of these campaigns and NGOs and nonprofits who have taken this money need to have that money seized by the federal government right now, so it cannot be reused. And you are going to now hear testimony from all of these other supervisor of elections candidates from our area and the things that they have personally seen and observed.
I'd like to introduce now Billy Christensen, who is running as the SOE candidate here in Hillsborough County.
Hey, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Billy Christensen, and I'm running to be Hillsborough County's next supervisor of elections. We're here today to address some of the more egregious issues ongoing in our election process locally here in Hillsborough. I'm a husband, I'm a father, I'm a veteran, a very proud veteran with 20 years of government and military intelligence experience. And like many folks, I have some serious concerns about the security and the integrity of our election process. Under our current supervisor, our elections have faced some serious issues. Most notably is the recent data breach, which happened in 2023, in which 58,000 voters had their social security numbers and driver's license numbers stolen from his office in a cyber data breach. There's an ongoing criminal investigation in which the FBI is the lead, and in over 15 months we haven't been provided an update. My wife was victimized in this breach. If you ask the supervisor, he will swear to you that the elections are secure. We have 58 tangible pieces of evidence, victims, showing you that it's not. Moreover, in 2020, he accepted a nearly $3 million grant that originated from none other than Mark Zuckerberg, and to date, he refuses to provide an accounting of how that money was spent. And lastly, in 2020, there were 21,884 blank ballots cast locally here in Hillsborough County. And not only does our supervisor lack the intellectual curiosity to investigate this anomaly, it seems as though that now they are trying to redefine what a blank ballot is. Let's be clear about what a blank ballot is. A blank ballot is literally somebody walking in and casting a ballot with no votes checked on it, literally blank. And if you believe that 21,884 voters walked into the voting stations and voted with nothing on their ballots, then so be it, because that's what the supervisors will have you believe. Not only do they not investigate this anomaly, but they're trying to now redefine what blank ballot is. In fact, they're trying to remove the term altogether. Our own supervisors are misinforming the public about what blank ballots are. Don't let them fool you. We have egregious issues ongoing in our elections office. We need to get these folks out. We need to elect good Americans who would uphold to the process. Like I said, I'm a veteran, and I know very well the sacrifice that's been given for us for this right to vote, and I intend to do everything I can to protect it. My name is Billy Christensen, running for Hillsborough County SOE. My site is Billy, the number 4 SOE. I'm going to turn it over to one of my colleagues. Thank you.
Now, I'd like to introduce Judith Jensen. She's come all the way from Alachua County. She's running for SOE, candidate SOE up there. Thanks, Judy.
Hello, my name is Judith Jensen. I live in High Springs, which is just north of Gainesville. This is a very blue county. I'm running as a Republican. I'm the secretary of the Republican Executive Committee. But more importantly, I've been very interested in election integrity, and I've been doing a lot of digging into our voter rolls. I started out with Defend Florida, and we had very few tools other than just signing on to Ben Verified or Melissa.com, which you had to pay for, but I did it, and I found, so many questionable registrations throughout the state. Now we have other databases such as the People's Audit that allow us to get much better information. And as we dig into things, we find a lot of variation. However, in the actual reports generated by the SOE in our county, we have many tens of thousands of people that are moved to inactive status, and they just sit there. And there isn't what I can see in terms of proactive management to discover whether these people are alive, moved, or where they are. In all of 2023, not one person on the inactive roll was moved to ineligible. The next report is coming out. I'm very eager to see what that is. In our county, we had 26 blank ballots, which isn't bad, but we also had about 1,000 people in the 2020 election who really didn't vote for one of the main 3 presidential candidates. So who goes to the polls and doesn't choose a presidential preference? The lucky thing is, Polaris Recount has used our county for a complete audit of the ballot images. I am very eagerly awaiting to what that will show, because that needs to be compared to the officially reported statistics. I am just looking for the truth. So far, with all of my public record requests, which is the shovel for digging out the truth, I have not been reassured that I'm still down to what really happened. And I will continue to dig in a nonpartisan way. I just want to know that our elections are safe to represent the people in my county. Again, I'm Judith Jensen, running for Supervisor of Elections in Alachua. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Tom Vale. I'm running for Supervisor of Elections in Lake County. We have been told that Florida is the gold standard of elections. That is not true. Our state legislature knows that. The Republican Party of Florida knows that. Our governor knows that. But they want you, the citizens and voters of Florida, to believe a lie. This year is the time to make a change. We need to get all voters out and vote out every incumbent. The only way to make a change in the system is to change the people that are in the system. I'm Tom Vale, running for Supervisor of Elections in Lake County. Thank you.
Good morning, my name is Jim Trouts. I am running for Supervisor of Elections in Osceola County. You know, there's three pillars to election integrity, and it's something we hear a lot about. One of those is transparency, the other is accuracy and accountability, and education. And so I want to talk a little bit about transparency this morning. Back in August of 2022, our Supervisor of Elections was talked to by the Secretary of State concerning mail-out ballots that went out with a party identifier on it. We also had some issues at that time with logic and accuracy testing as well too. Logic and accuracy testing is one of the few things that we can do to make sure that machines are working the way they should be. And frankly, that doesn't do everything as well either. However, back in that time, we were denied access to the room that allowed us to do logic and accuracy testing. That's an issue for us. Now, since then, because of some legal action that has been taken, we've been able to get back there and do logic and accuracy testing. But here's the issue. The issue is when you're doing that testing, if you cite a problem or if there's something wrong, there's nothing you can do about it at that time. You have to write it up, you have to submit it to somebody, and then after a while, it might be taken care of later on. That's an issue with transparency. Other issues that we've got is that in spite of the last time that our Supervisor of Elections sent out mail-out ballots, she did it again a second time. Again, there was no action taken until somebody said something about it. Finally, our Secretary of State intervened, told her that she was going to have to make sure that she presented a plan within 10 days, and then they were going to have somebody come out and supervise the special election for House District 35. We don't know if any of that happened. We'd like to know if that happened, but we don't know for sure whether it did or not. The issue at hand is if we're going to have free and fair elections, people need to know that the elections, when they go to cast their vote, that their elections are free and fair for everybody. That they have the confidence in knowing that when they cast their ballot, that it's going to be a ballot that they know is going to make it to the ballot box. My name is Jim Trouts. I'm running for Osceola County Supervisor of Elections, and along with all of my colleagues back here, we're here to make a difference to make sure that your vote counts all the time, every time. Thank you.
Michael McPeters, Lee County, Supervisor of Elections, hopefully soon to be. I'm running to take out a guy who just refuses to do his job. It's awful. Right here we have my wife's mail-in ballot that she did not request per Senate Bill 7050 in 2023 says it wasn't going to be mailed unless she re-requested it. There are 18,452 others circulating in our county currently, each of which is a third-degree felony, potentially speaking, if it's not in the hands of a spouse or another family member. We don't know because those people moved via the NCOA. That's the National Change of Address portion of the Postal Service. I went and verified the day before all of these ballots went out that they were going out and that they were going to people who had already moved, left the state, or passed away, but specifically moved or left the state. They were in a different jurisdiction and they were getting a ballot where they used to be. Mostly apartments. Florida's growing like crazy. And transitory residence voting is a constant circumstance. 18,453 times $8 per our own supervisor's quote for cost for postage and return first class postage on that exceeds $120,000 of absolute pure unadulterated nothing but, there is no other word for it besides waste. It needs to stop. I'm going to stop it. There's no reason why it shouldn't have been stopped before me. We had 4,000 deceased voters taken off the rolls this year for the first time in the last 8. That's a little bit late. There's still 254 they didn't find that we did, and some of them actually voted. I'm not exactly sure how, but it happened. My name's Mick Peters. I'm running for Supervisor of Elections in Lee County. My website's www.mick4lee.com. That's Mick, the number 4, lee.com. Thank you.
Thank you for joining us today, folks. As you can see, we have a passionate slate of 13. That just doesn't happen organically like that. We have a real problem in our country, and if you believe the same, start making a difference from the local level up. That's the only way we can change these things. So make sure to go to PinellasWatchdogs.org. You'll be able to find the link to rewatch this podcast and get a lot more information on these fantastic, brave residents of each one of their counties. God bless you all. Let's take action and get behind them. They need your help.
What happens when you already sent the emails and then they pretend that they didn't ever get them?
What if that was
that number to help us? I appreciate that. Thank you, man.
What if that was evidence of some kind of really bad thing like people dying?
I've done that. IC3, yeah. Internet, yeah. We've done all that. We've called. We've sent emails. Apparently, when the consent of the governed is removed from we the people via blank ballots and via an illegal, massive, smurfing money laundering operation that put the current administration into power, they don't want to hear the evidence.